All right, so June 4th, we are going to see an undisputed lightweight champion crowned in the four-belt era, as the ongoing circus that has been the lightweight division is going to finally culminate in an undisputed champion with George Kambosos, newly crowned unified lightweight champion, facing Devin Haney, WBC world champion, live from Australia on ESPN. For us stateside, it's going to be June 4th. I believe it's either a Saturday afternoon or Saturday night. But yeah, man, look, this is the fight that Devin Haney had been wanting, and whether it was Lomachenko, whether it was Teofimo Lopez, or in this case now George Kambosos, he is getting the fight that he asked for. Now, granted, not under the conditions that maybe, he was thinking he would have, as I think one of the biggest storylines of him getting this fight with George Kambosos is the fact that it is not going to be promoted by Matchroom. It's not going to be on DAZN, but he did, Devin Haney struck a deal with Bob Arum and Lou DiBella to have a 2-fight deal, and the fights will be televised on ESPN, which I had made mention before, man. This is a huge opportunity for Devin Haney. The biggest stage he's been on at this point, and truth be told, not only for Devin Haney as well, but for George Kambosos, though you can argue he's already been at this stage. Funny enough, he went states. He went across the pond, or well, I don't see across the pond, but across the Pacific, and went and fought Teofimo Lopez in the Lion's Den, proverbially, or literally, and beat him, by decision, not by a knockout, okay? So a lot of what the consensus from people, that they're trying to, I guess, predict this fight, and, I've kind of run into this myself, is Devin Haney going to run into issues as far as the scorecards are concerned in Australia, where we've seen, whether it's Manny Pacquiao and some others, where the fights didn't really, pan out on the scorecards like what we saw in the ring. But I guess you could make this example as to, George Kambosos coming over here and figuring, like, of all places, who would get the hometown cooking, let alone Teofimo fighting Teofimo Lopez in New York, Am I wrong, or did that fight happen in Vegas? It was in New York. Am I like, it could have been Vegas. I might be wrong, but don't quote me. Regardless, he came here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came to the United States. So I don't think it's out of the realm that Devin Haney can go in there and outbox George Kambosos to a 12-round decision and win all the titles. But that's just one part of the puzzle. But as it concerns the fight itself, it's an interesting fight, man. I mean, look, George Kambosos went into that Teofimo Lopez fight a major underdog, and that didn't really show in the fight. It was a much closer fight. George Kambosos went right after Teofimo Lopez and really did not relent, even getting dropped himself. But you also have to figure Teofimo Lopez was a year removed from the ring. Some people would argue he was kind of feeling himself. And then, like, when you're finding out now later is, he had some health issues going into this fight, okay? So there's, I don't want to say asterisks, but this is a whole new situation now, okay? Devin Haney also is bringing a different style. Devin Haney is going to be more defensive-minded. He's going to try to shoot off the counter, and he's going to try to make George Kambosos' night very difficult, okay? And there are things Devin Haney does, I feel, at times that it's, you know, we talk about the Philly shell, right? And, you know, me and the crew, we joke about how that form of defense, right? You know, people tend to think because somebody like Floyd Mayweather and there, I mean, I'd even go further to say James Toney, who is one of the godfathers of the Philly shell, as it concerns somebody who knew how to use it and when to use it. And I think what happens with Devin Haney, and he's not the only one, I've seen other young fighters do this, they tend to do the Philly shell at like the wrong time. And Devin Haney caught himself doing that with Jorge Linares, and that's part of where he got clipped. Now, with George Kambosos, it's a different fighter. Look, I'd even argue, man, a top level Linares to me is better than George Kambosos. But what kind of Linares did we get against Devin Haney? I thought we got a pretty good Linares who just seemed to not like shoot his shot. But funny enough, when he did, he landed. He would tend to land on Haney, and Haney would get very apprehensive. But more to see this fight playing out, I think Devin Haney's boxing ability and his size are going to play a factor in this fight. And which is why I'm picking him to win this fight by unanimous decision, or maybe by a majority decision. Again, going to the point of the judges and things of that nature, man. But I just think George Kambosos is going to try to rough up Devin Haney, but I feel he needs to go in there with several game plans. And I think Devin Haney will be able to kind of ward away a lot of what George Kambosos, I feel, is going to try to do. Because I don't think George Kambosos is, like, the biggest puncher. If we're looking at, like, what happened with Teofimo, I think a lot of that, and it's no shot to George Kambosos, but I think a lot of that, you got to really question Teofimo Lopez. But, you know, Devin Haney got cracked by Linares, so I just think this really is a styles make fights kind of scenario. And I just think Devin Haney, while I've been critical of him, and I think there's times he makes certain mistakes for the kind of style he's trying to bring, something tells me he's going to show up for this fight. And I just think George Kambosos is going to try to rough him up, but almost to no avail. And he's going to start to get a little sloppy. And I think that's where Devin Haney's boxing ability and the counterpunching is kind of probably going to take over the fight. So I got Devin Haney winning this fight either by unanimous decision or by like a majority decision to win the undisputed lightweight title. And I think that is going to propel him. I don't want to say to super duper star status, but I think it's going to like really legitimize him. And I think that's what Devin Haney at this point has been looking for, to like really cement himself as like, yo, listen, I'm one of the new guys here. Like, I'm no longer a prospect. I'm an undisputed champion. Let's go. And, you know, we'll see what happens after that. They're talking rematch and everything, but I think all that really comes down to whether or not this fight is close, if it's controversial. Because my money is at some point, he's going to fight Lomachenko. Okay, because, like, Teofimo moved up. That's really the only fight, or, you know, Gervonta Davis, you know, whatever happens with, you know, out of him and Rolly. And I got, you know, I think Gervonta's a heavy favorite in that fight, meaning against Rolly. So, but Devin Haney would have all the trinkets, or you know, the bargaining chips, I should say. So let me know what you think. I got Devin Haney winning this fight live on ESPN Saturday afternoon or night. I'll take either or. So let me know in the comment section who you got winning this fight, man. Devin Haney or George Kambosos, live from Australia. So beyond that, we're back on Spotify, man. Just search GYGB Warport Show. We got 2 new episodes up. Follow the crew at Guards Grill TV. Follow me at Guards Grill Boxing. Got a lot, well, the crew at Guards Grill Boxing. Follow me at Roberto_Flack, Facebook, you know, all that. So, any case, man, enjoy your weekend. Big fight this weekend, and I'll be talking about that pretty soon. Peace.